I tried Tinder as an average guy for 1 week. Most people have been on a dating app before, whether it be Bumble, Tinder, Hinge. I thought Hinge was a gay dating app, to be honest, for a very long time. People told me that it's not. I'm still very much convinced that Hinge is a gay dating app, but I digress. Also, if you guys want one of my art toys, head over to bagboytoys.com. We have these guys right here. We also have these guys right here if you guys want to get some of those. But other than that, let's get into the video.
Turn the air up, down, 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 yeah. Turn the city upside down, 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 down.
I'm going to try using Tinder as an average guy for 7 days. I'll be going over the whole process from account creation, to results, to analytics. With many young men giving up on dating, complaining about apps, and facing a loneliness epidemic, I wanted to conduct this experiment to show the reality of online dating for men. Here's a little bit about my background. I'm 25 years old, 173 cm tall, have a lean physique, am self-employed, and live in Singapore with a population of about 6 million people. I used the free version of the app with zero in-app purchases and ran the experiment for 1 week.
5'8" is like, pretty short. I'm 5'9", so I'm not much better than bro. Shit, okay.
Day 1, I spent about 5 minutes filling out my profile like my birthday, gender, and preferences. For the distance, I set it to a default of 80 kilometers. I also set my life...
The fuck is 80 kilometers? 80 kilometers to miles. That's about 50 miles. Damn. Okay. Pretty far, if you ask me. But let's see.
Style habits, personality, and interests. For pictures, I added a few seated photos with a clear view of my face and
pretty good pics. Yeah, he's pretty fit. I feel like he can get some, he might get some bitches. Shit. But let's see.
a mirror selfie. There are a couple of disadvantages worth noting. The first is that I don't have the best pictures because I haven't had a professional photo shoot before. The second is that I don't have a full head of hair.
He doesn't have a full head of hair. This is a good amount of hair though. It's not like bro's bald, so I don't know about that one.
Which is a negative point because it's typically linked with military service. After completing the onboarding process, I started swiping on a bunch of profiles. The plan is to swipe right on those who are at least average in looks and around my age. I'm not going to swipe right on every single profile because that will skew the results of this experiment. Over the next few days, I will continue swiping until I hit the limit, which was about 25 right swipes every 12 hours. On the first day, I got a total of 12 likes. This is due to the noob boost that new profiles have, which I'll talk more about later. Then, it drastically plummeted over the next few days, and I'm barely getting any likes. It seemed like my profile wasn't being shown to as many people anymore after 24 hours. Another setback that dating apps have like Tinder is that they do not show you the number of impressions that your profile gets. For example, when you upload a video to YouTube, you can see the number of impressions it gets on YouTube Studio. A high click-through rate indicates that your video is clickable. However, dating apps strategically hide this statistic, so you will never know your impression to swipe ratio. For the rest of the week, I tried my best to hit the swipe limit. However, even after swiping for 7 days, I still wasn't able to review all of my likes. Overall, I spent about 10 minutes a day swiping on the app. This might not seem like a lot, but if I were to spend a year doing this, I would have wasted 3,650 minutes of my time, excluding conversations, if nothing came out of it. It's now time for the results. After using Tinder for a week, I swiped a total of 447 times. Out of those 447 swipes, I swiped right about 252 times and got 8 matches. Out of the 252 right swipes, 244 of them were no match. However, I managed to get a total of 14 likes on the app, 7 of which are still hidden. Despite swiping for over 447 times, I was still unable to review those likes. These results may seem depressing, but if you take a look at the average match rate for men, I'm almost on par with it. According to Tinder Insights,
damn, men 2.5 of people they swipe right on? That's fucking shit.
Men have an average match rate of 2.5%, while women have an average match rate of 33%. This means that women are 13 times more likely to find a match on Tinder as compared to men. Apart from these statistics, what I've realized after using the app for a few days is that there are almost no locals. I live in Singapore, and the vast majority of Tinder users are either foreigners or permanent residents. The app has seriously gone downhill after COVID, and I remember that it wasn't like this back in 2018 to 2019. It's time to come clean and talk a bit about what I've learned. I've actually used Tinder in the past, averaged a match a week for about 2 years, and had a number of conversations off the app. However, these conversations were a waste of time because no relationships came out of them. It felt almost impossible to make it out of the talking stage because of inconsistent messages, ghosters, and flakers. That was from 2018 to 2019, but for some reason, it feels much worse today. When it comes to online dating, both men and women suffer setbacks. Generally, men have too little options, while women have too many options. Part of this is because men significantly outnumber women on dating apps with a 2-to-1 gender ratio. Another part is the huge difference in pickiness. According to an interview with Tinder CEO, men swipe right about 46% of the time, while women only do so 14% of the time. However, this interview was conducted 10 years ago. According to new data by Tinder Insights, women only swipe right 7% of the time in 2025. As a woman, having an abundance of choices can lead to inundation, poor, or regrettable decisions. On the other hand, as a man, if you don't look like a model or you don't have Instagrammable photos, you are practically invisible on these apps. That being said, even if you are a Chad, you would still underperform the average woman in terms of likes and matches, which I'll talk about in a moment. In addition, using dating apps takes a huge toll on your mental health. There are definitely success stories, and meaningful relationships can be formed through them. However, for the average guy with mediocre photos and looks, it's better to stay off the apps because the negatives outweighs the positives. The amount of time taken to swipe and converse only to get nowhere is better used doing something productive like hitting the gym or starting a side hustle. As I mentioned earlier, dating apps like Tinder do not show you the number of impressions your profile gets, so you'll never know how many people view your profile and the percentage who swipe right on it. After all, conventional dating apps are designed to encourage male users to spend money on them by limiting visibility, likes, and matches. Tinder's Noob Boost proves this point because you'll find the most success on the app in the first 24 hours. After a week, your profile's visibility will fall off a cliff. The Noob Boost is a feature that gives you a dopamine rush and sets an expectation that the app works. After the initial boost, Tinder will drastically reduce your profile's visibility. And it's not just you. This happens to almost every single male profile, including high quality ones. This is proven by the YouTuber Reed Waffles, who conducted an experiment using expertly enhanced professional photos of himself. The initial spike in the number of matches is caused by the Noob Boost, which benefits new profiles. After 48 hours, his number of daily matches went from 43 to an average about 5. The psychological trick is that you are shown how good the app could be thanks to the boost, and now you are tempted to pay to get back to that level. Theoretically, you could game the system by occasionally deleting and recreating your profile, but that could put your account at risk of getting banned. If you have disposable income and you're looking for experience, sites like Seeking Arrangement or Rent a Date services are honestly better alternatives. Otherwise, you'll probably find
crazy. What the hell, bro?
more success with cold approaches. According to a study done by OkCupid, women find 80% of men on the app unattractive, and a mere 5% considered most attractive. On the other hand, men rate women across a wider spectrum with a fairly even distribution of ratings. There is an argument that the data is skewed because men swipe right at almost everyone and then look at the results after. However, this is false because earlier in this video, I shared a couple of statistics indicating that men swipe right only 40% of the time on average. Social media platforms like TikTok take the disparity in how women perceive male attractiveness to the next level. One user mentioned that there are maybe 5 attractive men in the entire world and got over 20,000 likes. Another user mentioned that she only finds 1 man attractive out of 3 million. Looking at all of the data, if I were to give my younger self one piece of advice, it would be to stay away from dating apps. In fact, the best decision that I've ever made in my life was deleting these apps and focusing on myself. Over the last 5 years, from 2020 to 2025, I've been prioritizing on 2 main things: improving my fitness and my financials. I went from being a scrawny teen to a toned and healthier version of myself. I've also started my own media property, investing, affiliate marketing, and a couple of YouTube channels, reaching millions of people worldwide. I wouldn't trade this for anything else.
I think the moral of the story is don't go on dating apps. They don't really work, honestly. And then if they are working, they're for dudes that are getting girls and then they just trying to get a nut off, or they're for girls just to give themselves a dopamine boost and prove to themselves that they're attractive. Meanwhile, dudes are just liking everybody. A waste of time. I don't know anybody that has a successful relationship off of Tinder. And girls on Tinder, chances are they're not the right one for you. And if they are, they're not going to respond to you because they're there for a dopamine boost and they're not there to actually find a mate because they know Tinder is not the right answer. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Also hit that notification bell. If you made it this far, you might have liked the video, so go ahead and like the video. But anyway, I love you and peace.